Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Kuze with the Contraband Esports Network. Today we are looking at some Starcraft 1v1s, and it's going to be a Protoss versus Protoss and Metalopolis. Let me introduce the players in the red trunks down here. One of the most recognizable Protoss players in the game today, it's Huk. And in the blue, we got EtdJBaker. I'm just going to refer to him as Baker. And they're playing on Metalopolis, as I mentioned. Let's take a quick look at the map. We got two high yields in the middle. Fairly old map, Metalopolis. It's been around since just about when SC2 came out. And we got some Naga towers in here. It's going to be pivotal in controlling vision in the middle of the map. So let's take a look at what our players are doing right now. Not too much going on. They just hit about their 9 supply, and so they're both getting pylons, it looks like. Nothing too out of the ordinary, no cannon rushes, nothing crazy quite yet. Take a second to point out, if you have any replays you would like us to cast, you can send them to us at CESNreplays@gmail.com. We are always looking to cast something original. As much as we love casting really good players, it's always fun to take a look at some of the funnier and sometimes better amateur replays that you guys have. So definitely send those in if you think you have something that is replay worthy. Now let's get back into the game. We're just at 14 supply now, so both players have their gateways and their assimilators coming, and both have sent out scouts, as we can see here. Huk and Baker choosing the wrong spawn point, but there are only 4 spawn points on this map, so with the process elimination, they're going to be able to figure out pretty quickly where their opponent is. Not a huge map. Metalopolis personally is not one of my favorite maps. It's kind of fun for 2s if that's your thing, but otherwise, personally I don't like it too much. You can let us know in the comment section what you think, but I think not too many people are going to disagree with me here. Alright, Huk and the cybernetic core, we're both at 17 supply now at this point, both of them making sure that that simulator has 3 probes on it, fully using all of its potential, and cybernetics core for Baker as well. A little bit of harass going on here from Huk. They've both found each other's base, doing a little bit of scouting. Huk going ahead and grabbing his second assimilator a little bit ahead of Baker. So see what he does with that, if he uses it for Immortals or Colossi or something like that later on. In the advantage, see Baker Chrono boosting out his first Stalker, fairly regular build. Same thing going on down here with Huk. Huk a little bit behind, it looks like, on cybernetics core research, but otherwise nothing nothing too out of the ordinary so far from either of these players. Huk setting his Stalker out. Looks like Baker is doing the same up here, and just getting a little scouting done, using these probes to get pretty good map sight, looking for proxy pylons, that kind of stuff. It's exactly what Huk is doing, I think. Looking down here, this is a pretty good spot to put a proxy pylon down here near the Meng statue. It looks like Huk has actually gone ahead and done a proxy pylon of his own, though. So we'll see if this comes into play later. It's not too far from a high yield here. This is closer to Baker's base. So if Baker tries to expand here, Huk will definitely have a pretty good advantage. But let's take a look at what we're looking at here for Baker. He's got 2 more gateways coming up and a Twilight Council. So could see some High Templars or potentially just some research for Stalkers, or, oh, yep, there we go, Blink for Stalkers. So it looks like Baker going a pretty heavy Stalker build, we can assume at this point. He's got another Stalker coming out now, and see Huk thinking about maybe building something there, but Baker going ahead and killing him. I've seen Huk a couple of times use pylons to force his opponent to stay inside his base, right there, putting them right there at the choke, but no such luck this time. Baker all over that. Meanwhile, Huk has gone ahead and gotten a sentry, and his warp gate research has finished, warping in a couple more Stalkers. So we will see what he does with that. Looks like Baker thinking about maybe grabbing the Naga with this probe, and Huk is there. Huk is gonna probably kill that probe. Yeah, looks like it. But Baker going ahead and getting a pylon up, and Huk is gonna let that sit there. Don't know. Oh, good play by Huk actually. Don't know if he saw this coming, but there's 5 Stalkers here from Baker, and looks like they are actually making a move. Huk is in full retreat here, bringing back his sort of scouting Stalkers at this point to try and defend the base. Here we go, see what happens here. Huk with his sentry can use force fields to block off this choke pretty effectively, and he's going to do just that. Baker not going to be able to get in there. Although I'm sure Huk would have liked to trap at least one Stalker in there with the force field and get a free Stalker in that exchange, but no such luck. Looks like Baker reinforcing with that proxy pylon, warping in a couple more Stalkers, and so Huk is on the defensive right now. He's got just built the Twilight Council as well, and it looks like Huk grabbing another Stalker. Baker able to warp in one behind on that middle line, but can't get any probes with it. So Huk winning that little exchange, getting another two Stalkers, the first units that have gone down. He also grabbed an Immortal out of this robotics facility, and he's got a Observer coming up as well. So don't know, he's going to go ahead and send it right over to Baker's base to see what he can see. And he's got Blink research of his own coming up as well. Don't know if he knows whether or not Baker has Blink research. And his Blink research is done at this point. Baker also bringing in a robotics facility. I wouldn't be surprised if we see some observers from him as well. Always good to have some sight. And meanwhile, Baker using his offensive time to go ahead and grab a expansion while he's got Huk sort of on the back foot. But Huk going ahead using his Blink. Going to grab one of Baker's Stalkers, which are in full retreat at this point. But he's not going to be able to catch him, I don't think. But Huk, remembering that this pylon is here and that he left it there, going to go ahead and get that down. So Baker is going to be without a proxy pylon at this point, and meanwhile Huk using his proxy pylon to warp in some quick reinforcements of his own. So now we see Huk's got sight up here with an observer, but Baker does have the high ground anyway, and he's able to drive off that attack. Meanwhile, this Baker's expansion and his natural is now just finished, and Huk doesn't know it's there if we take a look at vision. He has no idea that it's out there, and he really needs to figure out it's there as quickly as he can. Baker is a little bit oversaturated here on his mineral line. Wouldn't be surprised to see if he moves some of the probes into his natural right away and get that up and going. It's of course a great move for, in terms of natural expansions for any player. Is getting getting probes or drones or whatever over to your expansion before it's actually finished. So as soon as it's up, you have a full set of miners over there. Not using the gas yet though. Doesn't really need to at this point. He's doing okay in terms of gas. Got enough for his stock. He's got quite a good force of Stalkers here. Actually, they all have Blink too, so fairly easy to micro. Meanwhile, we see Huk has his observer, and it's just sort of going around inside that base. He also grabbed his natural as he when he was on offense there for a little bit, and he's also got these Immortals. Now these Immortals do very well against regular Stalkers. Now in terms of Blink Stalkers, they can be a little bit harder to protect. A lot like Colossus, they're pretty susceptible to being focus fired down, and if that does happen, they're not going to be as helpful as they would be normally. So we'll see how Huk does there at defending it. He is a pretty good micro player. See Baker taking down Huk's observer with sight from his own, and that's going to keep Huk blind for the time being. But he should have another. Let's see if he has any other observers out there. He does. He actually has one more, so he's not really narrative, and also grabbed Baker. So both of them trading observers at this point. Trading a couple Stalkers, but no major battles yet. Both of them just sort of taking the time to expand, get their naturals up. Neither of them grabbing that gas early, though, which is interesting. He doesn't really need it. They're not going to waste the minerals on it at this point. And I see Baker bringing in a couple Zealots. Wouldn't be too surprised if we saw him getting charged for those Zealots. So that's going to make it a little bit difficult for Huk to protect, well, even more difficult, actually, to protect those Stalkers. You see, Huk has gone in here and attacked this natural. Baker sees it, obviously, and he is going to go ahead and looks like he's going to try and box Huk in here. Huk has to retreat out this way. He decides to fight instead. The force field is going down. Those look like they're coming from Huk, and Huk really sort of screwed himself over there. And oh boy, he loses his Immortal, loses his Stalkers. Pretty poor micro, actually. He could have just retreated out through this natural expansion, or not natural expansion, but through this mineral line over here, and decided to sort of split his forces instead. I don't know if he did that on purpose to make sure these got away or what, but he's definitely in trouble now as we see Baker counterattacking quickly and getting that natural expansion, really aggressive natural expansion from Baker, making sure that he has the mineral advantage. Meanwhile, we see another Immortal coming in from Huk, and he needs it in quickly because Baker's here, and those charge Zealots really actually not being that effective. Huk getting them off with Zealots of his own at this point. and Baker is forced to retreat. So Huk done a pretty good job there, making sure that his blunder on the other end of the map didn't come back to haunt him. You see, he's got this natural pretty much going pretty much at full speed right now. He doesn't have these gases yet, which is interesting, but doesn't seem to need it. So he's bringing more immortals. I don't know if this is a smart plan for him. They have been going down really quickly so far in this game. Surprised that he doesn't get charge zealots as well and just match Baker, or maybe get even Colossi, but he doesn't really have a gas for that at this point. So difficult situation for Huk. Obviously, he doesn't know that this expansion is here, and he really needs to find that out quickly. You see him warping in a couple of zealots from this proxy pylon. Baker still doesn't know it's even there, and he's going to probably use these just for sight in terms of his army composition. He doesn't have any more observers, so he's not going to waste the minerals or the time on the robotics facility getting those when he needs, well, he feels like he needs immortals. So, but we see Huk seeing that this expansion is back after he went over there and destroyed it. Baker not too worried. It's only 2 zealots. I'm sure he'll warp in a couple of zealots of his own and just take care of these 2 guys. Just sort of a little bit of a harass from Huk, trying to keep Baker on the back foot, but obviously these 5 zealots here now, they all have charge. Huk's zealots do not, so those are going to go down really quick. So you see Huk moving in now. I don't know whether he's going to probably try to make a move on this natural, because once again he doesn't know that this high yield expansion is here. Go ahead and grab that probe and try and split the forces there a little bit. Here comes Baker. Baker, seeing that this force is here, Huk not expecting this at all. He's got a couple of immortals here, doing a good job getting those zealots in there, but Baker doing a pretty good job microing them down, and he got good reinforcement on his left flank, and those charge zealots just going right for the immortals. Nice blink from Baker, destroying those immortals. Huk is in trouble here. Those charge zealots are getting all up in his stalkers. He's doing a pretty good job microing the ones that are losing their shields in the back line. And boy, what an exchange that was. Huk maybe should think about retreating, but he's not going to. Be real aggressive. Getting right in there. Baker bringing in reinforcements. Huk's doing a great job with those stalkers, blinking out the ones that have low shields and low health in the back row. He doesn't have to worry about them. Surprised that he's not bringing in more reinforcements. He's trying to from this proxy pylon, but he's not doing a good job making sure they're getting into a battle, and it's really killing him over here. He's doing a great job, though, getting those stalkers in the back, and those zealots are really not as effective as Baker would like them to be. But boy, that was another great exchange. Huk down to only a handful of stalkers now, about 6 or 7. And he really should think about retreating here. He's being real aggressive, bringing in 5 or 6 stalkers on the other side. Baker doing a great job getting those charge zealots in right away. And you see Baker, and wow, Huk GGing, because he just can't get in there. He can't get Baker off of this mineral line, and I think he knew that he was kind of in trouble here, because Baker just had so many minerals, doing a great job making sure that Huk didn't destroy this and getting his natural back quickly. Huk being a little bit aggressive that game, it has to be said, and not doing a great job with this, massing up his forces at this proxy pylon, and just sort of throwing them instead at Baker's high yield. So that wasn't the smartest of maneuvers, but still a good game. Not to take anything away from Baker, he played a fantastic game, did a good job with his micro, and those charge zealots were quite good. Huk, those immortals didn't really work out as well as he thought they would, I don't think, and he knew he was kind of in trouble. Ended up getting that gas anyway towards the end of the game, but man, it wouldn't have been enough. He only had maybe 1 immortal back here, and he was really struggling. So for the Contraband Esports Network, this has been Kuze. I hope you have enjoyed this gamecast, and I will see you guys next time.